All right. Hello and welcome to the Miracle Morning for Network Marketers audio series / podcast, depending on where you might be finding this information and this content at the moment. My name is Pat Petrini. I'm the co-author of the #1 best-selling book, The Miracle Morning for Network Marketers. And in creating this book, we reached out to some of the very top network marketers in the world, and we interviewed them, some of the top performers, both people that have been around the network marketing world for years and even decades, as well as people that are fairly newcomers that have just been around for the last few years, but have had extreme success in those just those last few years. And we reached out, we interviewed them. That's what this series is all about. You're going to hear interviews from a number of different people. And in these interviews, we dive into not only their tips, strategies, techniques, things that have really accelerated their business, but also, and of course this was sort of the thesis, the theme of the book is the Miracle Morning for Network Marketers. We delve into their morning routines and their daily rituals, things that they consider to be critical for success that are really important for them to do every single day. And what we found, the whole concept of the Miracle Morning is that not every successful person does all of these different things every day, but just about every successful person does some of these things every day, has some of these daily rituals, oftentimes morning rituals, and so we dive into that in this audio series. Now, if you're not familiar with the book, you can check out the book, of course, at Amazon. Just go to Amazon and search for The Miracle Morning for Network Marketers. You'll find it right there. And then, of course, you can also go to our website. You may be listening to this recording right there on our website, but if you're not, if you're finding it somewhere else, go to tmm4networkmarketers.com. That's TMM, like the Miracle Morning, FOR, networkmarketers.com. Again, my name is Pat Petrini. I hope you're going to enjoy this interview. I know you're going to enjoy this interview. You might want to have a pen and paper handy, and on with the show. Thanks a lot. All right, welcome everybody. This is Pat Petrini, and this is another sort of episode, I guess, of the Miracle Morning for Network Marketers interview series. Really appreciate you guys being here, and I'm excited to share. We've got the one and only Ray Higdon on the line with us, and Ray is not only a contributor to the book and has contributed to this interview and to this whole project, but Ray's also was kind enough to write the foreword for our book. And Ray is probably many of you are familiar with Ray Higdon, but you know he's kind of one of the most prolific trainers out there in the network marketing space in terms of the amount of material that he's putting out on a daily basis. And so, and you know, he's got an incredible story that we're going to dive into. But Ray, I appreciate you being on here with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I love it. And you just recently are celebrating a new addition to the family. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, baby Sabrina. She'll be 3 weeks as of tomorrow.
I love it. Well, again, really appreciate you taking the time to jump on here and just all the contribution you've made to this project. For anybody that is listening that maybe doesn't know your background or your story, maybe if you could kind of give us a little run through of kind of how, or professional background, how you found your way to network marketing. And I know obviously a huge piece of it as you were in, you've come were able to totally turn things around. You and your wife were in a foreclosure situation in a tough spot, when the economy collapsed years ago. Kind of walk us through that whole story.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm someone that I've always had entrepreneurial kind of DNA from, selling candy in middle school to, just always being on the lookout for how to, make a deal or, something like that. But I really didn't have any kind of support. I didn't have relatives or, really anyone around me that, had been an entrepreneur or owned their own business or anything like that. So, after high school, which I barely made it out of. It took me 5 years to finish high school. But after that, I kind of did what everyone else did, and that's got a job and, started working my way up the corporate ladder. And I actually, it was working. I worked my way up to a pretty decent salary. And but what I realized is that the more that I worked or the better I did the more they paid me, but the more they demanded of me. So, I found myself spending more time with pictures of my kids than the real thing. And, I have two boys who are now 17 and 16. And, some people say to me, they say, oh, you just had a daughter, but, you have two boys already. Well, it's a little different because when I had the boys, I was working 3 jobs and I barely saw them. So now to have full freedom of, I've been to every single, doctor visit. While Jess was pregnant, I've been to every single, pediatrician visit, with the baby. It's just a different experience. So go back for a second. I decided that, corporate life wasn't for me, and I was sick of, having to come in on weekends and miss my kids' soccer games, and I just decided to go out on my own, and I went into real estate, which was amazingly successful for a few years. When the market changed.
And with real estate, you were flipping. You're on the kind of investment side, right?
Yeah. So I was really doing 2 things. I was doing me and a partner. We were buying low-income rental housing and fixing it up, prettying them up, and renting them out. Again, low income, rough neighborhoods. Was threatened many times, and had to kick out drug dealers and all kinds of stuff. So it wasn't ideal passive income like we thought it would be, but we were doing that, and we were also flipping houses, and sometimes we would fix them up a little bit and hope that we could sell them at a profit, and sometimes that worked, sometimes it didn't. But it was going well until 2008. 2008, the market crashed, and I sustained for a little bit. I spent all the money that I had to try to keep these properties afloat, and just to realize that it was a futile battle, and lost it all. So I lost every penny I made in real estate. Ended up in personal foreclosure. Bill collectors calling me nonstop, knocking at my door, me peering from the Venetian blinds to wait till them to for them to go, because I was out of money. And so I do want to clarify something. My wife and I, we were not in foreclosure. I was. So I was actually dating my then girlfriend, Jessica, and she was working the Nordstrom makeup counter paying my utility bills. So, very, very grateful that she stood by my side when times were very, very lean. And a friend of mine invited me over to a home meeting. I knew what that meant because, I'd been in network marketing before, had never made it work, but I'd been in it and I understood it. But I had nothing else to go on. I had no credit. I had no money. I had, my resume didn't look that impressive from being away from corporate America for years. So I really didn't have many options. And I went to this home meeting and I said, screw it. I'm going to go after it. And so, I had a brief discussion with my girlfriend, who's now fortunately my wife. And I said, listen, the next 2 years are going to be hell. I'm going to be locked in my office. I'm going to be either, on the road doing meetings, or I'm going to be on the phone. But there's not going to be a lot of me and you time. There's certainly not going to be romantic dinners or anything like that. I have to do what I have to do. And I just don't feel it's, fair for me to venture into this aggressive state of growth and not tell you how it's going to be. And so fortunately she didn't leave. She was, young, beautiful, finishing up her college degree, which I never did, and she had everything going for her. So fortunately she saw something in me, and also fortunately it ended up not being 2 years. I told her the next 2 years are going to be hell. Well, by month 5, I was making $10,000 a month. Month 7, $40,000 a month. Month 10, $50,000 a month. Ended up becoming the number 1 income earner in that company. Did over $1 million in commissions, and in the process, created a coaching and training business that I never planned on creating. But we were doing so well using the internet to build our network marketing business that people from other teams were reaching out to us and asking for, advice and training, and would we coach them, and all these other things. So without really trying, we also built in the same kind of time frame a multiple seven-figure coaching and training business as well. And so now that is our primary focus, is helping network marketers in any company. We do still have multiple six-figure income a year inside network marketing, even without really promoting it. We don't really promote it publicly, but we really nowadays we just work with a lot of top earners in different companies, and we create products and training for network marketers in any company, and it's been great, man.
I love it. And actually that's kind of one of the next things I wanted to ask you about is if you, I know that like you said, you've got you've sort of built, people talk about multiple streams of income. You definitely have sort of a business model that sort of has multiple streams of income sort of working together, and you've got now a blog that is massive. You got a ton of, what are you at 1 million plus? How many unique visitors are you getting a month on your blog?
Unique visitors, we get right around 100,000.
Okay.
I think this last, and that's not hits. Now we get millions of hits, but as far as unique visitors, it's a little over 100,000. I think this last month it was I think it was like 115,000, something like that.
I love it. And so you've got this massive blog that you've built over the years from just consistency, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I think people would be really interested to kind of see, so obviously the blog is something that is building a ton of credibility, and probably have people that, like you said, you're not out even at this point actively promoting per se publicly your network marketing business, but I'm sure you regularly have people asking you, say, hey, I want to work with you, how, things like that. How do kind of the different things work together? Anything that you'd like, anything you'd like to share on kind of how your business works together and the different streams of income?
Yeah, we have right now we have. Let me think about this. We have 2 six-figure affiliate income streams, multiple 5-figure a year income streams from different affiliate programs, the multiple 6-figure in network marketing, and then the multiple 7-figure in our own stuff. And
right.
It's something that when it comes to multiple income streams, I tell people that there's 2 rules that we have, and that is they have to be congruent and they have to be non-competing. So sometimes when someone hears a network marketer talk about multiple streams of income, they think that means multiple MLMs. Well,
right.
That's not what I don't subscribe to that way of thinking, because I believe, and this may be anti what someone else might say, but this is just my thoughts. I believe all MLMs are actually competing. Now the argument would be, well, Ray, this one's juice and this one's travel and this one's skincare.
Right.
Why can't I be a part of all 3 and just wear a trench coat and go around and say which one you want, right? Well, if MLMs were product companies, then you would be right. You can be a general store and you can sell, diabetic cookies just as well as you can sell Reese's peanut butter cups. But the problem is real MLM building is not product, it's community. So if you look at it, and, part of me doesn't like this analogy, but it actually works, is if you look at it as if you want to be a top earner, consider yourself that it's almost like becoming a pastor, all right, or a preacher, or something like that. Well, could you successfully build a fellowship and a following in a Baptist church as the pastor, but then also on every other weekend go teach at a Jehovah's Witness? Okay.
Right.
No, because they're competing. They have different schools of thought. Now, that doesn't mean one's better than the other. It doesn't mean either of them are either good or bad, whatever. But just the analogy there, it is also just like in building a following in a church, as John Maxwell talks a lot about, It is community. And so that's why I'm not a big fan of attempting to build multiple MLMs at the same time. Now, that doesn't mean, we order products from probably 5 or 6 different, companies, but we don't build them. We only build one. So that's just, to add to that so that no one gets confused. So I say non-competing and congruent. So for us, we serve network marketers, and our uniqueness is, there's lots of traditional network marketing trainers. The biggest, in my opinion, being Eric Worre, and he's fantastic. He's amazing. We teach a little bit. We embrace the traditional and the old school, but we also teach the new school. We also teach internet marketing. We teach content creation. We teach branding yourself. We teach all those things because we've used them successfully, and we believe we're in a world where there's no longer just one way to do it. And, so we teach those different things. So, some of our income streams have to do with, tools and systems and things of that nature to help people build their brand online. And then we have our, coaching programs and our products. We're probably a pretty unique company in that, we've done over $1 million in MLM commissions. We've done over $1 million in affiliate commissions, over $1 million in selling our own coaching, over $1 million in selling our own products. So it's kind of weird, Most people that have been highly successful as an affiliate marketer have never been successful in network marketing or vice versa. And, so we bring an interesting aspect to the profession, we believe. And the big message that we have is wherever you go, there you are. So brand yourself, put effort into you. There's a lot of people that are unaware that they have a crutch. And I know a lot of people that they have one source of income and they love it. It's great. They're going to be with that one source of income the rest of their lives until something happens. And unfortunately, when bad things happen, you realize that you had a crutch and the rug was pulled out from underneath that crutch and you topple to the ground, and you wish that you would have branded yourself more. And I have a conversation probably once a week, maybe once every other week, minimum, of someone who is an ex-top earner in a company that had something change. Either the company unfortunately went down, or the owner started smoking dope. They something happened. The comp plan changed. Whatever. Okay. Had they been focusing as much energy, or even a little bit of energy, on branding themselves and improving their value and their how they represented themselves versus how they represented that particular company, which they have no control over no matter what they think, then they wouldn't be in the predicament that they're in. And so we're a big fan. Now, that isn't an anti-network marketing rant. We're very pro-network marketing. In fact, I think most people should be in network marketing, but I just don't think it's smart to use it as a crutch, to not learn. Let me not learn marketing or systems or communication or creation because I have this nice company to take care of all that thinking for me. We're not fans of that way of thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you completely, and having been through an experience kind of like that myself a little bit, and that built up, became a top earner in a company, and then watched that company slide backwards dramatically, and having, in hindsight, wishing that I had sort of branded myself. I still walked away with what I felt was like a solid personal brand, but didn't do any of the things that you guys have done as far as like really building, kind of an online brand and online community, all that kind of stuff. And it's one of the things that I, in putting some of the other people that we've brought together for this book is like Mark Hoverson, who obviously really, really well, and some of the other people that they even maybe are not so much in what they would say like network marketing today, more on the affiliate side of things. But if somebody chooses to, like you said, it kind of maybe wants to learn some of these more new school, quote unquote strategies, that network marketing and sort of affiliate marketing, blogging, all these sort of things can work so well together and sort of feed each other, that if somebody has the inclination to kind of learn these skills, they can really, really buffer themselves, like you said, from what might happen, because none of us control the company. Even the CEO doesn't control the.
That's right.
There's not any one person in a network marketing company that has 100% control of what the future is going to bring. So we all need to prepare for whatever can happen. So I love that. I'm looking at my notes here. Oh yeah, one thing. So this is just kind of a random question, but I always enjoy asking people just to hammer a point home. In the last company that you were with, you were the number one earner, and you're obviously one of the top earners at the company you're with. In either company or both, or whichever example you want to give, I'm always interested in asking how many people did you or have you sponsored, and out of those people, how many total are where does 90% of your income come from? How many of those people?
To be honest, I used to track that stuff.
Yeah.
And I kind of just stopped tracking.
Sure.
I mean, I can tell you the last company we were with, I think we were over 500 when I stopped counting as far as personal recruits. And I just kind of stopped counting. And
sure.
In the last week, I've recruited 4, so, and that's without me, publicly promoting or marketing or anything like that. I can tell you over the last 5 years, it is rare for us to go 2 weeks without a sign up. It's more common for us to sign up 1 to 2 people a week, and that's been every week for 5 years. Now, sometimes in my last company, we ran a lot of contests, and that was my primary focus. I mean, there were some months where I signed up 30 people, or I think the most I ever did was 35 in a month. But now we certainly don't hit those numbers as far as recruiting anymore. But yeah, as far as your second question, you're probably going to get this answer from any real top earner that you talk to. The majority of your income inside this profession, it comes from like 6 people, and that's something I heard from Mark Yarnell years and years and years ago, and it's just I've seen it proven over and over and over again. We've had clients like Matt Morris hired us a few years ago to help him with his online brand. Robert Hollis hired us just a couple months ago actually, and we have multiple 7-figure earners right now that are clients, and if you ask them same question, they're going to tell you probably 6. It comes down 4, 6 people, something along those lines, are the real linchpins to that success. The thing that you need to understand, if you're listening to this and you've yet to build a large team, and you're either in the process or you don't have a team yet, it's not always it's not always the same 6.
Right.
So there are people. I mean, I had one guy in my team that was doing $15,000 a month that jumped. He got lured by a check and jumped to another company, and hey, that happens. If you go forth in this profession with the thoughts that never happens, then you're going to be disappointed. And so just realize, businesses, change, people change, hearts change, people get lured to other things. And quite frankly, sometimes people are in the wrong company. And, so I'm the type of guy that if someone, leaves, I wish them the best. I hope that they find their true passion and find their calling. And, I think the world needs more fired up, passionate people. So I'm not the typical network marketer that gets all bent out of shape and bashes them online or something like that. I wish them the best. I'm like, good luck. I hope that this one works out. If I can help you, if you ever want to come back. And that's kind of funny because I've had a lot of, leaders that were in my team over the years that left and either came back or left and then ended up hiring me. And, so that's pretty cool. It shows that, at some point there, they saw that I added value, and, that's always a good feeling.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is always crazy and terrible when, it's like people have this feeling like if you leave the club, suddenly you're an enemy or something like that.
Right. Right.
I think that we all had to look at retention. Retention is our own responsibility. It's our job to just be better, be like the best option for people. If you're losing somebody, then look at inside instead of outside for what that problem is.
Right.
So we of course are talking about the miracle mornings for network marketers, and so I want to dig into your morning routine because I know that I love when we first connected the level of sort of passion and commitment you have to your morning routine. So I definitely want to dive into that. But real quick, before we get to that, I wanted to ask you, you've been doing, I'm on Periscope a lot. I've seen a lot of your Periscopes popping up lately and have jumped onto a lot of your different trainings. So I know that you're doing a lot of things with Periscope. And I guess for anybody that's listening, if you're not sure what Periscope is, it's a relatively new sort of social media app where you can live stream to an audience or you can choose people to follow. And when they are live streaming, you can jump on and kind of see what they are up to, whether they are, doing it from a teaching standpoint or they're like hiking the Grand Canyon and they're like, hey, check out what the Grand Canyon looks like or whatever people might want to use it for. But you've been doing a lot of stuff with Periscope, and I know you've been kind of using it in kind of some unique ways. Can you kind of dive into how you're incorporating Periscope in your business these days?
Yeah. Periscope is amazing on multiple levels. One, it is very simple. It's literally a button. I mean, for what we teach all of our clients to start creating content. Blogging has been a big key for us. And, to blog, you got to, set up the, where you're going to shoot the video. You got to upload the video. You got to embed the video. You got to write some text. You got to do some keyword. You got quite a few steps in there. Now, they're worth it. It's worthy of doing, and it has built our multiple seven-figure business. I mean, that would be the primary, the primary strategy that's built our business. But there's a lot of steps. And Periscope, you click a button and you type a title, and voila, you're there.
Right.
So Periscope is extremely easy for the broadcaster, and it's also high enjoyment for the audience. That is a winning combination. People love checking into non-scripted, live, views. This is what makes, part of what originally made Saturday Night Live so popular is that, wow, they could mess up, man. They could start cracking up at their own joke and totally blow it. And, many people remember, watching, Jimmy Fallon when he would crack up on, on stage, or when Chris Farley made David Spade crack up when he was doing the Van Down by the River skit. I mean, we remember that stuff because it's live and it's different and it's not scripted. And, so people love that. And it's simple for the broadcaster. It's high enjoyment for the audience. That's a win combination. The other thing about it is, as of, I think 2 weeks ago, or maybe 3, there were 15 million users of Periscope with less than 1% broadcasting. So just to set that stage for you, think about if there were 15 million, television sets in people's homes, and there's like one channel. That's kind of what we're talking about here. We're talking about a lot of people have downloaded the app. Not a lot of people are actually creating content. So you have an audience that it's like, well, I wonder when the next Periscope's on, and very few people are doing it. So we've had clients that were very new to marketing get 100 people on their Periscope, and let me tell you, they could not get 100 people on a webinar.
Right.
And so that's something to really embrace and understand. So one of the unique things that we've been doing is I do a free coaching Friday. And Free Coaching Friday, and I'm sure some people hear this and be like, "Ooh, that's the key, Free Coaching Friday." No, you can do, you can do any other day. You can do Friday. I mean, it's fine. The name Free Coaching Friday isn't the point. It's what I do. All right. So every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, I host a Free Coaching Friday on my Periscope channel. And what I do is I just sit in front of the camera, and I have prizes, I have a promotion, and I answer questions. So we have, let's see, the last 3 weeks we had 1,300, 1,100, and 1,000 people each week on these live, okay, live, mind you, not replays, but live. We have 1,300, 1,100, and 1,000 the last 3 weeks, respectively. And, if everyone's asking questions, if I pick their question, I send them a gift. I think this last week we actually PayPal'd them $50 just to be different, just to be fun. And, and I answer these questions, which, hey, that's great. Well, Periscope, one of the downsides that short-sighted marketers have is that Periscopes only last for 24 hours, okay? So after 24 hours, the Periscope replay, poof, it's gone. Well, there are technologies that you can use that will keep that replay up, such as catch.me, KATCH.me. That will actually capture all your Periscopes. But we do something a little differently. So we take the replay of our Free Coaching Friday and we segment it out. So if I answered 4 questions, we bust it into 4 different pieces of content, videos. We take those videos, we have them transcribed. We take those transcriptions and videos and we make them blog posts. So nowadays, instead of me getting up every morning early and shooting a new video for the blog, I'm literally taking one of the segments from Free Coaching Friday and using it as a blog post along with the transcription, and people are loving it. And what I found out,
that is a great, that's perfect.
Yeah. And what I found out about myself is I just love to perform in front of a live audience. And I'll tell you, sometimes it's hard. I do it. I mean, I've now done 1,647 blog posts in the last 5 years. We've done 613 podcasts, and we're now close to 100 Periscopes in the last 3 months. So we create a lot of content, okay? But it's a lot more fun for me to share a message in front of a live audience. So for the last week, anytime I press the Periscope button, we were averaging over 500, usually around 700 people that tune in live just to see whatever that message is. And these are non-scheduled. These are all times of the day or night, and we have 500 to 700 people. Let me tell you, we have 120,000 person email list, but to get 500 or 700 on a webinar, you got to do some marketing. I mean, that's not a push a button kind of thing. That's a multiple days of promotion, maybe running some ads even. But to get 500 to 700 on a Periscope, we're now getting that almost every time.
Right. Yeah, that is brilliant. I can totally see how that makes so much sense. I agree with you. I think I've only done a few Periscopes so far, but it is a really fun way to interact with people and to be doing your content creation at the same time. I mean, that's one of the things that you guys have always been so good at, is just consistently putting out content just daily, and just I don't think I don't think there's anybody more consistent with content creation than maybe you and Eric Worre that's putting stuff out there. And anyway, to be able to use the Periscopes to break that up, that makes total sense. I love that.
And we tested it, because one of our thoughts were, well, if they were on live, are they going to want to see it again? And our traffic has gone up. Our comments have gone up. Literally everything in our business has gone up. So there has been no negative repercussions from repurposing that same content that we've seen so far. So far so good.
Awesome. Well, so the last thing here that I wanted to ask you, and then I know that you've got a call coming up that in about 15 minutes or so, but of course wanted to dive into morning routines. I know that you are very, very consistent with your morning routine. You consider it to be a really important aspect of kind of what you do. So yeah, let's dive into that. If you could kind of walk us through, what are some of those morning routines, and maybe any other, daily rituals that may not happen in the morning, but what do you do, and why do you consider them to be critical for you?
Yeah, and I should preface that my daily routine when I was solely looking to be the top earner in my network marketing company was different than my current routine. So I just want to throw that out there. Before I was generating leads, I had to do a lot of prospecting. We now generate 3,000 to 4,000 leads every month in, month out. So I don't have to do as much prospecting if I don't want to. In the beginning, I had to do a lot of prospecting. So my morning routine, it really starts the night before, and I think this is an important aspect. People don't give enough time, credit, or credence to our supercomputer, our subconscious mind. And so, before bed, your average person is watching the news, which is, rape, murder, political injustice, strikes, hurricanes, typhoons, all this negative stuff, kids getting beaten and, kidnapped and all these negative things. So I never watch any of that stuff. What I do before I go to bed, I put my phone on airplane, and I go to a album in my iPhone that is all affirmations. And so I have 10 to 12 affirmations that I wrote out on note cards and I took pictures of and I stored in an album. Now, some people might ask, well, why not just flip through the note cards? Well, when you travel a lot, those things can become very tattered. So if they're stored in my phone, they will stay in pristine condition, and I'm always around my phone, and I do back it up. So before I go to sleep, I program that subconscious, that supercomputer mind. Imagine if you had a supercomputer in your house and you could issue it commands. You could say, I want $1 million. Would you do it? Or would you just say, boy, the weather sucks outside? You know what I mean? So many people, they don't give credence to that supercomputer that you have, which is your subconscious mind, and you just let it focus on the last thing that it saw, which is rape, murder, kidnap, typhoon, all these other things. So I program it before I go to bed with positive things that I want in my life, things of, making a bigger impact, of my growth, of, hitting my goals, things of that nature. And so go to bed, wake up, and I set my intention for the day when I wake up. So I roll over. I do not check my Facebook or email or any of those other things that most people do. That's not what I do first. I roll over. The phone's still in airplane mode. I flip through those affirmations one more time just to set the intention. I give immense gratitude to, that I'm alive, that today's going to be an amazing day. I don't recall. It's probably been 15 years since I woke up and didn't immediately think to myself, it's going to be an amazing day. And they're awesome. That's just how we start our day, no matter what yesterday looked like. And so, I do that. I do, a couple probably mundane things. I weigh myself. I tell people that whatever is tracked can be measured, can be improved. So I weigh myself. I want to make sure I'm looking decent enough for my beautiful wife. So I do that, rinse out my mouth, brush my teeth, drink lots of water because you're dehydrated in the morning. People think that they need coffee. The problem with that is it just dehydrates you even more. So you need to drink a ton of water or else you're going to be operating on very few brain cells. The coffee doesn't help that. Water does. So I drink about 60 ounces of water, which is an extreme amount of water. Most people, if they try that, they're like, I can't do it. You'll almost feel full from that much water if you drink that much water. And, we do alkaline water or whatever else, right? So I do that.
I'm just curious, what caused you to start, I've always heard, wake up, pound a glass of water to rehydrate. But why so much? Why do you do a full 60 ounces?
I have different mentors in my life, and for different categories. For example, for scaling my business, one of my mentors is Russ Whitney, who built a $250 million a year company. For health and wellness, one of my mentors is Tim Sales. And Tim is probably the most detailed person I've ever met in my life. And he's done infinitely more research than I will ever do, nor ever want to do. And that's a Tim suggestion. So I listen to Tim when he talks about that kind of thing.
I love that.
Yeah. And, so drink a lot of water. I will, at that point, will strap on. And this one alters, because sometimes I change it up. Sometimes I'm, hitting the gym or something like that. But currently, I strap on a headset and I walk, very quickly around my neighborhood, do about 30, 45-minute walk while listening to an audiobook. Right now I'm listening to the Millionaire Fast Lane. I forget the author, but I whip through, $1 to $2 a week just doing that. And so I come back and I have a green smoothie, which consists of water, lemon, ginger, cabbage, kale, spinach, celery. Did I say cucumber? I don't know. So I have that green smoothie. I make one for me, I make one for my wife, and then I usually get in my hot tub and do 10 minutes of gratitude, where I just think about all the things that I'm grateful for in my life, which will usually starts with my wife and baby Sabrina, then it goes to my sons, Brandon and Ethan, and it goes to my mom and my stepdad, her dad and stepmom. It goes all the way down to my podcast listeners, to my blog subscribers, to my clients, to my coaches, to my neighborhood, to my house, to my pool, to my hot tub. It goes all the way there. And, just feeling that gratitude, feeling great, get up. I'll usually have some protein at that point, either a piece of grass-fed beef or 2 eggs, and then I will get my blog post out. A lot of times I already have that video created, so I'm just kind of embedding it and writing a few things or using the transcription, and all of that is done by 9 times out of 10 by 8:15 in the morning.
Mm-hmm. At what time are you getting started?
With little baby Sabrina, she's impacted my sleep schedule for sure.
Yeah.
And so I used to just unwillingly wake up at like 5, but now I'm usually getting up around 6:30. So 6:30, 7. All of those things that I mentioned, they just don't take that long. So that's usually taken me 90 minutes, something like that.
Yeah. And have you always been kind of always had sort of a morning routine, or is there some point when you just kind of decided to implement it, or is it kind of a newer thing?
I would say the last 6 years for sure I've had a solid morning routine, and my thinking of it is it's in my control. Some people are night owls, and that's great. I typically unwind at night. I'm usually not up working too late unless there's like a specific project. But the problem with any other part of the day is you don't have as much control over it.
Right.
See, all those things that I just mentioned, I usually haven't even checked email at that point.
Right.
So even if something has gone awry, I don't even know about it. I'm getting my stuff done. And what people tell me is they're like, well, that's nice, but I don't have the time. Well, what you'll find is if you make the time, the world will adapt. And, I first heard that from one of my spiritual mentors, the Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith. I've had the pleasure of sharing the stage with him a couple times now. And, he says that, you don't make time, you don't have time for meditation. You make time, and the rest of your day gets better. And what happens is the chaos of your day is going to happen anyway. That's going to happen. Now, you can either adhere to it and let it push you around, or you can say, I'm going to do this, and the rest of my day is going to happen anyway. And that's what I do.
Yep. Yeah, no, I think that part that you said about not checking, if somebody is really going to try to implement a morning routine and believes in the importance of what we're trying to promote here, I think that it's really critical, like you said, of not rolling over and checking email and social media, because it takes one post or one email to jack up your whole morning routine, and it only takes a few days in a row to have your week jacked up of doing that, and then you're off your routine and everything. It's so easy to throw it all off.
Yeah. So there awesome. Are you'll find there are no there are no real emergencies. And if something bad has happened, guess what? It's still going to have happened 90 minutes from now.
Right.
And there's very little you can do in that time span to make a difference about something that happened. And so, what you do is you stick to your routine. And my suggestion, my work schedule varies. There are some days where I get my, blog post done. I do a Periscope on the way to the, grocery store or something like that. And I record a, 5-minute podcast sometime throughout the day. And that's all I do. To me, because one of my metrics is how many people did I get in front of today? And, if I analyze those metrics, we'll have, 2,000 to 4,000 people on our blog each day. We have an average of, 2,300 to 3,000 downloads of our podcast each day. And we have 700 to 1,000 people on our Periscope each day. If I'm getting a message in front of 5,000 to 6,000 people daily, then I'm making a difference. I'm making an impact.
Right. Well, I know we've only got, you've got like 4 minutes until you've got another call you've got to be on, so I want to be really respectful of that. I really, really appreciate the time. Not only this interview that I think is going to be really valuable to a ton of people, but just, you participating in this whole project. Just closing remarks, or two things. One, I want to ask where people should go to learn more about you. Obviously, you definitely jump on Periscope so you can be watching what Ray is doing, not only from a training aspect, just be analyzing how he's using it from a marketing standpoint as well. But where else should people go to find you? And then just if you've got anything that I haven't asked you, anything that you want to throw out to anybody that's listening, anything like that as well.
Yeah, just, my suggestion is, you don't have to be, perfect to start, but you'll never improve if you don't. And so if you have just a wackadoodle, morning routine, start implementing small steps. As far as, connecting with me, my Periscope is rayhigdon.com/Periscope. And, we've been blogging, almost 1,700 blog posts in the last 6 years at rayhigdon.com. If you go to rayhigdon.com, enter your name and email, you'll actually get on our daily training email list where we send out every day for the last as many years as I can remember, 5-6 years. We send out some training for you to help you grow your network marketing business.
I love it. Well, again, just Ray, really appreciate you. I've got so much respect for you and for Jessica. Thanks a lot for being on here. And for everybody who's tuning in, thank you guys for tuning in. And you can, of course, catch us on the next episode. Whether you're seeing this, by the way, you might be seeing this online on like YouTube or on our website or whatever. There will be some links around wherever you're seeing this or listening to this audio to find the rest of the content that we've created as well. So, Ray, you rock, man. Thanks again. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. Honored.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey, this is Pat Petrini again, and just to wrap up really quickly, I just want to remind you that if you liked this interview, we've got a whole bunch more. If you go to our website, it's tmm4networkmarketers.com. That's TMM, like the Miracle Morning, FOR, networkmarketers.com. And of course, if you haven't checked out the book yet, you can go to, first off, you get 2 free chapters of the book at tmm4networkmarketers.com. And then, of course, if you want to get the book, go to Amazon and just search for The Miracle Morning for networkmarketers.com, and you can get it paperback, Kindle, whatever. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you really enjoy the rest of the content that we've made available for you. Thanks a lot. Again, my name is Pat Petrini, and I'll see you on the next interview.